There's this saying that what works for one marriage may not work for the other. But the question I want to ask you is, have you found out what works for your marriage or what works for your spouse? And what would allow you to tick the boxes in your spouse's life? There are times that we just talk about these things and they're very sweet to the ears. But whether we have sat down to actually analyze what works in our home is another question we must ask ourselves. You see, as a married man or a married woman, if you've been doing something over the years and you've seen that each time you do it, it triggers quarrels, it triggers arguments, it triggers, an unhealthy environment or just a very hostile atmosphere in your home, then common sense should just tell you to stop it. It's shocking that there are times that people see that something hasn't worked. Each time you do it, your spouse gets upset. So the question is, why are you still doing it? Why is it that that thing that you know that your spouse doesn't like, that very word you know they don't like, is the what is your choicest word, is the one you would love to use at the end of every argument? That same malice that you've been keeping for years, that causes your marriage to be hostile, is the same method you're still using till now. And it's causing you a lot of problems in your home, then just stop it. There are some things that we don't have to pray about. There are some things we don't even need to ask anyone about. They're just called common sense actions. When you begin to, there's a reason God gave us a brain. And I'm sure you've heard it before, that the reason God gave us a brain is that we can allow him rest. Because the truth is, if we had to ask God every time we needed to do something, I wonder what this world would be like. Somebody wants to cross the road, they have to ask God first. Somebody wants to eat, they have to ask God first. Somebody needs to sleep, they're already dozing off, they need to imagine what the world would be. So God has already given us a brain for us to process a lot of things. Now let's use our common sense in marriage. It may sound very rude, but it's unfortunate that a lot of people are not, unfortunately, they are not using their common sense when it comes to marriage. You're treating a woman with so much hostility and disrespect, and you're saying she's not giving you sex. For God's sake, how is she going to give you sex when she's not even drawn to you? When she feels that you are the terror in her life, how is she going to release her body to you? Why not change it around and start treating that woman like the queen that she is, and watch what your sex life will be like? Treat her with honor. And you might give an excuse. Oh, I never saw my parents being romantically involved with each other or touching and holding, and go and learn it. That's why we have resources out there. You can read books. Don't spend money on the wrong things. Spend money on the right things. Invest in the right places. Your marriage should be your investment. It's something worth investing in, because if you have a good marriage, you will be the one to enjoy it first. I say to people, when you see my husband and I, when you see our pictures outside, it's not for show. Listen, what we do at home is even much more than that. What we do is even much more than that. So what you see is a quarter, is a tip. If we're not happy, we hold our peace, we get to the bottom of it. What is happening here? We don't do it so everybody will say, oh, they have a great marriage. My marriage serves me first. And so that should be your take. So when I'm investing in my marriage, I'm actually investing in my life. So whatever you invest in your marriage, whether good or bad, you will get it back. So why not invest in the right things? Think about it commonsensically. What are those things I'm doing? As a wife, you are so disrespectful to your husband. And each time you speak to him, you see that his face changes. You speak to him in a certain manner. He may not say anything, but you can see that his face, there's something just off, or he's, suddenly quiet and he's not happy, or he just walks away. What he's saying to you is, I don't like the way you're speaking to me. Common sense will tell you to change the way you speak. Sometimes it might just mean to keep quiet. I'm on the journey as well with you. We're all in this together. There are times that all we have to do is be quiet. There are times my husband will ask me a question, I'm so quiet. He knows that means I'm not in agreement, because maybe if I say what's on my mind, there might be trouble. So I want to find a good time to say it properly. I want to speak to the king in him, not the fool in him. You understand what I'm saying? Because a man can behave in an erratic manner that you think, is this the husband I married? Based on how you treat them, based on how you speak to them. It's a lesson that we have to learn. But please let us change our ways. If there are things you are doing, you see that it's not working, just stop it right there and ask yourself, how can I improve on this? The way you serve your spouse, the way you behave, the way you treat them, the way you present them, the way you honor them, the way you pray for them, the way you even, tell them, I want to ask you to move this. Can you move this? Can you get out? And you're expecting the best from such a person. You might see the beast in them. Even if they're godly, sometimes they will do the wrong things they shouldn't. Just, that moment, and they live to regret it for the rest of their lives. So will you. So please do the right thing, both husband and wife. Let us do the right things. Do the right things. You want to change, don't keep doing the same old things you've been doing. You want a new thing to happen in your home, you have to start doing new things. New things will not happen if you're doing the same old things you've been doing. No wonder the Bible says that you can't put new wine in old wineskin. Why? It will burst. It cannot take it. So if you don't want to see, it's a new month now, you don't want to see this trail of bad behavior, in your marriage, persisting, all the time, things that just go on, you argue, you fight, you behave in a way your children are looking at you thinking, what is happening again? 1 minute of laughter, next minute you're slapping each other, next minute you're speaking ill of each other, you're calling each other names. No, then change how you do your stuff, one step at a time. Marriage is a school. Forget what's going on social media. If you don't want to learn, you're not going to learn. You're not going to last in marriage. If you don't want to learn, you don't want to change, you're not going to last. And you will keep going from woman to woman or from man to man because you have refused to learn. But if you can just humble yourself and learn, you will see the changes you desire. It's a new month. Let's make the changes we want to see and watch this marriage become a beautiful story that we'll be able to tell with joy and pride. God bless you. Take care now.